Okay, now it's time to add our patterns, and it's done the exact same way as the photos. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to select this top corner, and then I'm going to get a pattern paper and I'm going to drag it up in here from the project bin. Now immediately hit Command G to lock that in place, and because I'm keeping these at the size of the papers, there's no need to resize. Okay, I'm going to do that for the rest of the patterns, and then I'll be back to show you the rest of the layout. Okay, so I've dropped in all the pattern papers, including this green one right here. And I'm going to try to get this gray bar to be brown. So I'm going to go ahead and drag in this stripe color. Actually, first I'm going to select the bar, and then I'm going to drag in the stripe color. And I'm going to hit G, Control G to put that in place. And then I'm just going to, using my arrow keys, I'm just going to move down the area so that it's all brown. Okay, and then for this, the journaling area down here, I'm actually going to do something a little bit different. Over on the layers palette, go ahead and click on this icon right here, which is the lock transparency. And that means that if I fill this layer with the paint bucket tool, it won't colorize anything other than what's already there. So instead of making the whole document all one color, it will only make the black area one color. So I'm going to go ahead and get my white color on top, and I'm going to get my paint bucket tool. Then I can color just that area. Okay, now I'm going to get the tree shape, the tree element. I'm going to bring that in. And using my move tool, I'm going to bring it down here, and I'm going to size it so that it's just inside this area here. Okay. Before I put it down into that white shape, I'm going to go ahead and make it a brown color. I'm going to go ahead and get my eyedropper tool. I'm just going to select one of this brown up here. I'm going to do the same thing I did with that white box. I'm going to come over here and lock the transparent layer. And then I'm going to get my paint bucket, and I'm going to come and drop that brown color in on the tree. Actually, what I'm going to do is do a Shift Delete and hit the foreground color, and I'll say OK, and it makes all of that the brown color. I'm also going to take the opacity down so it's a little more subtle. And now I'm ready to lock that into the clipping mask of the white shape. So I'll hit Command G, and it will just put it into that white shape. Okay, for the background of the page, I'm going to come down here and select background, and then I can drag on the pattern paper that has a little bit of a texture to it. There we go. All right, I'm going to add a stitching detail over here on the side. Okay, I'm going to click and drag it over onto the layout. I'm going to rotate it so it's vertically. I'm holding down the Shift key so it will snap into place vertically. Then I'm just going to size it down so it's the right size for this area. Lock that in. I'm going to come over here and do the lock transparency layer, change the color, the foreground color, to white, and then I'm going to do a Shift Delete to do a foreground color fill, and I'll hit OK. To move that on top of that one, and then you can see it. See that stitching detail off to the side? Okay, so now I'm going to do the title. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to get my type tool, and with the very top layer selected, I'm going to go ahead and just click right there and type a number 5. I'm going to select all and make it a lot larger so I can see it. There we go. I'm going to just use Helvetica for this number here, except I'm going to make it bold. Okay, I'm going to use my arrow keys to make it a lot larger. going to bring the red pattern in over top and do Command G to drop that into the shape. Okay, I'm going to select the text right here, and I'm actually going to put a layer style on it. And I'm going to come over here and select strokes. And then I can come down here and I'm going to just hit black stroke for now. We're going to change it by double clicking on the FX icon. And under stroke, I can change the color to white. I can also make the size of the stroke a little bit smaller. I'm going to take it down to about 20. Looks good. Okay, and then I'm going to select both these layers and right click on them and say merge layers. There we go. Okay, so there's our 5 there, and I'm going to type in little faces to the side. Using my move tool, I'm just going to move that over. Okay, now I'm ready to add one of the handwriting icons from the Flourishes kit. And it's going to be, let's see, we're actually going to take off the S on this one right here. So I'm going to go ahead and get my select tool, and I'm just going to draw that around and hit delete. And then I can select the rest of it, and using my move tool, I'm going to just drag it over. Perfect. Okay, now I can take that over into the document. All right. I'm going to get that same brown color once again. I'm just going to get my eyedropper tool and get a brown. And with that layer selected, I'm going ahead and lock the transparent layer. Do Shift Delete, foreground color, and hit OK. So it's brown. Okay, it looks like this bar needs to move down just a little bit. I'm going to select that shape and the pattern right above it since we had that brown in there. And I'm going to move it down just a little bit. Okay, now I can select the smile and also little faces, and I'm going to move that up as well. Maybe size down the little faces just a little bit. Okay, now it's time to add some journaling down here. You can do that by taking the text tool and just clicking and dragging and then typing your journaling and changing the color there. Okay, the last thing you need to do is add some shadows. And one thing to note when you're using kind of a quote-unquote template like this is you want to apply the shadow effect to the shape and not to the pattern that's filling it. So for example, I'm going to come up here to right below this, the red pattern. I'm going to select that, and you'll notice over here that it's selected the outside edge, so I know it's the right shape. I'm going to change my effects palette to drop shadows, and I'll just apply one in right here. We're going to actually adjust it from that, so it doesn't really matter which one you select. I'll double click on effects, and I'm just going to change the size of the drop shadow to 15, 10, 40. Then I can hit OK. Now I'm going to right click on that shape, and I'm going to copy layer style. And then I can go to the other shapes and right click paste layer style. And I'm going to do that to everything that I want to have a shadow. So there's our layout. Hope you guys enjoyed, and as usual, you can get more details about this layout over at basicgrey.com. Thanks for watching.